Hello and welcome to the SciFirst MovieTalk episode. So in this episode I'm discussing the 2010 computer animated comedy Despicable Me, as directed by Renaud and Pierre Coffin for Illumination Entertainment in their feature film directorial debuts, which coincidentally also served as the debut film for the studio too. The movie introduces us to Gru, as voiced by Steve Carell, an evil genius intent on pulling off the crime of the century after a slew of miserably failed attempts and being outdone in an effort once and for all to be remembered as one of the greatest villains of all time. His plan? To miniaturize and steal the moon. However, Gru has some competition in the form of new and upcoming supervillain Vector, as voiced by Segel, a tech-savvy villain who, on taking up the mantle of the greatest villain for himself, and in doing so, usurps Gru's own plans by stealing the one piece of equipment he needs to carry out his dastardly deed, a shrink ray. Hatching a cunning plan to get into Vector's high-tech lair and steal back the shrink ray, Gru adopts three sisters, Margot, Edith and Agnes, as voiced by Miranda Cosgrove, Diana Gaier and Elsie Fisher, respectively, who he uses to lure out Vector after finding out he has a weakness for the cookies they have been selling, especially the coconutties, which do indeed sound pretty nice. And indeed, as it would turn out, Gru finds out little by little that he actually starts to care for the girls. And for as evil as he may think he is, he may just end up being a great big softy at heart. Together and along with Gru's ever faithful, if somewhat haphazard, yellow and totally bananas minion clones, they help to realise Gru's dream, if only perhaps to realise that what Gru has been looking for all along may just be closer to home than he thinks. Now, of course, when this film was first released, I don't think there was any doubt as to whether or not this would spark such a phenomenal franchise. The premise, the characters, and the overall setup completely shouted sequel for starters, and indeed the minions, oh yes, the minions, they have literally ended up everywhere. Lunchboxes, soft toys, pencil cases, PJs, cups, t-shirts, and even advertising broadband, at least in the UK. If a minion could be printed on it, you can bet your life it has been, to the point of complete saturation, and then some. But who could really blame them for cashing in? They are quite lovable and in an irritating kind of way. And okay, so I may have had too many minion birthday cakes in my time and perhaps now grown out of the duvet set I once had. But their antics and bubbly personalities always make me smile and have a distinct way, no matter what the guise, at brightening up a day. The film itself is such a fantastic introduction into this world, bringing some delightfully playful villainy with a slight spy espionage twist, full of uniquely rapturous and sometimes bewildering gizmos and gadgets. Fart gun anyone? Or how about some boogie bots? I mean, it's totally mad, but simply hilarious. A completely righteous time and just simply great fun throughout. It's a brilliant world that's kind of being built and slickly presented. It has quite the swagger about it in that transitions the elements of the movie in a very sharply focused and involving way that simply brings its characters to life with such wonderful charm and engagement. At its core, despite its villainy, it's a movie about family which totally warms the heart. The three girls, Margot, Edith and Agnes, are simply wonderful additions and add just the right amount of distraction from the more outlandish elements of the movie. And basically, you know, have also the most meaningful and relatable character arc for Gru, as he comes to find that perhaps having a family was something he had been missing. It has such an awesome energy about it that it's hard not to get caught up in it. And that's even before we get to the brilliantly cartoon antics of the minions that themselves offer an alternative kind of backdrop and a number of sidebar gags that end up being just superbly and simply just some colourful, nonsensical fun. The more action-adventure elements are hilariously orchestrated too, with some fun and zappy characters thrown into some larger-than-life situations, along with a number of totally chaotic chase sequences set against a comedically thrilling story. Carell is excellent as Gru, totally injecting his own style and charisma into that character that you just can't help but love. You can tell Gru has a big heart right from the start, and Carell brings a charming warmth to the role, which I think was needed to stop the story from going too dark. Very much keeping it about the comedy and Gru's journey, keeping this focus throughout with quite a spark and enthusiasm for the role, which more than kept everything fresh and relevant. I also thought Russell Brand, as the ever-suffering but ever-determined Dr. Nefario, was quite a good fit for the role as well, as Gru's kind of assistant and resident scientist too. Poor old Nefario, he never seems to just kind of get it just quite right, but he's steadfast in his belief in that master plan. A little cantankerous in his delivery and attitude, pushy and relentless in his own way. Definitely taking it to heart when his creations don't quite fit the brief. He does look really torn at times, but doesn't mince his words either. There is a wonderful dynamic that's been set up between the characters, especially with Gru and the girls, especially with Margot, which presents the kind of family mantra over, ever more as this film progresses. It is actually quite a sweet movie when all's said and done, especially with the kind of the bonds that the characters forge throughout. The movie's music completely also sets the scene from some kind of fun and funky disco hits to the likes of the Bee Gees, the Silvers and Robin Thicke, to some fresh and smooth newly produced songs by Pharrell Williams, along with an edgy and swagger score by Pierre, which certainly feeds the movie's more dramatic and whipped-up action come thriller elements, with a real sense of style, very much allowing Gru to really kind of strut his stuff. Overall, this is an amazingly fun, light and breezy family film. Totally over the top, yet with a big heart and the sweetest of appeal. It's a film that knows what it is, what it wants, and how to kind of deliver the goods, which it most certainly does in droves. Amazingly punchy and full of swagger, it's an awesome animation with a massive sense of adventure. For as silly as it might be, we all need a film like this every now and again in our lives, you know? So, that brings me to the end of this episode. Many thanks for watching. I do hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, please leave a like. Please do hit that subscribe button for more movie reviews, trailer reactions and other movie-related content. Absolutely loved having here at SciFirst MovieTalk. Definitely love to have you back. Most of all, just thank you very much for watching. Goodbye.